that we will be having our community Earth Day cleanup as well as gardening around the library and of streets. That to sign up, you're here. Oops, excuse me. You can sign up for your own road or a different road, but there will also be signups at the library at 10 o'clock on Saturday, and it goes until noon. And that is all useful.
So it's 10 o'clock till noon this Saturday.
This Saturday is when we are celebrating Earth Day.
Great. So anybody who wants to participate can, tonight, they can see Melissa. Otherwise, it'll be at the library. Thank you, Melissa. Anything else? Okay, we'll move on to approval of pending minutes. And we'll take them one at a time. March 9th, 2026, regular meeting minutes. I will take a motion to,
So moved.
I second it.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
March 11th, 2026, special meeting minutes.
February 26th, special meeting minutes.
February. Not on his thing. March.
Okay, March 11th.
March. Oh, okay, so we have a February.
Did we? No, we already did that last month.
Okay, so February is all set. So we have March 11th, 2026. I'll make a motion to accept those.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And March 18th, 2026. Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
March 23rd, 2026. I make a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
March 30th, 2026.
I move to table that one till next month because I wasn't here.
Okay. So the March 30th, Patty, is
tabled until next meeting?
Yes. I guess we have to, do we have to have a motion to table it?
Sure, I'll make the motion to table that.
I second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And April 8th, 2026, special meeting minutes. I'll make a motion to accept those.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. So we got that done. The next thing on the list are the treasurer's and tax collector reports.
I'll make a motion to table both of those reports until our next meeting, next regular scheduled meeting.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Communication. Written. The only thing Dave had included in here, there was a couple things, but we have these aside. We have the Household Hazardous Waste Collection Day coming up on Saturday, June 20th, 9 to noon, at the Public Works Garage. And you have to have tickets to participate. I think usually we have Pete have the tickets. I don't think it comes through the town clerk's office now. It's through Pete. Oh, both places?
I think so.
No,
No?
just the Pete.
I
Just through
got mine through Eventbrite.
Oh, well, but not through town hall. Like,
Right. So Pete at the transfer station will have the tickets.
We'll have that clarified for the May meeting.
Yes. Because that's not until June. But if people want to start getting ready for that. And let's see, I think that was all. The rest of the other communications will coming up on here. Um, okay, so anything on your part, Chris?
No?
First, Selectmen's report. The steep grant, I'll let Chris update us.
So the steep grant, we've got, we'll be submitting an RFP for the trash compactor to the state for their review. Continuing to work on RFPs for the other works. I spoke with Allied Engineering today. I think he's going to try and pick up that permit that we have tomorrow. I told him to call Dave before he comes down here. But I think Dave has all that, right, Tim? But yeah, okay. So that's pretty much it.
Okay. Um, Alrighty. The next thing, proposed ordinance. So there's a tax abatement for surviving spouse following a line of duty death. And they wanted us, we approved this at one of our special meetings. And the purpose of this ordinance is in accordance with Connecticut General Statutes CGS 12-81X. The purpose of this section is to formally recognize and provide financial support to the surviving spouses of public servant residents of the town of Canaan who have tragically lost their lives while performing their official duties as law enforcement officers, firefighters, or emergency medical service providers. This section hereby establishes a 100% abatement on all town of Canaan real property taxes for eligible surviving spouses of public servants as specified herein, up to a maximum of $10,000 per fiscal year. So this will have to come up to a town meeting. So it'll be on the agenda, probably the next town meeting, which has not been decided when that will be. Then there's a letter from Connecticut DOT that they are going to be doing the new epoxy pavement markings on 63 from Goshen, which Chris just told me, Ivy Mountain Road, which is by the school, to Route 7, which is by the gas station. So if you see activity there, they're painting the white lines and the yellow lines and sprucing that up. And that will take place on or about Wednesday, April 1st, and continue through Tuesday, September 15th. So it's a good long span there. It gives them plenty of time to get it done before the snow flies. And then we have correspondence from the Canaan Exchange Club, and they are looking for members. And they said in May, we will gather at the Colonial Theaters to celebrate the club's legacy and look ahead to the future. At this meeting, we will elect a new board and begin building the next generation of leadership for the Canaan Exchange Club to identify how to best use our $180,000 endowment. And it's signed by Christian Allen, Laura McCarthy, and Caitlin Ollinger. So if anybody's interested in joining the Canaan Exchange Club, there's information here on it. And bridge closing. I'll turn that over to
So the
Chris.
state of Connecticut, the bridge review people made the recommendation to the town to close the Cobble Road Bridge. It's the long one over the Hollenbeck River. So Tim did that couple weeks ago, right, Tom? Closed it with, put some Jersey barriers there. Uh, there's a little bit of pushback from the one neighbor, and we're going to try and get some resolve on that this week coming up. So that's happened. A letter. This is all recommendations for Connecticut DOT. So Mary Baker, she's in charge of that, and she sent a letter to Dave telling us that we should do that. So we did that. We followed the
Did what they
recommendation.
told us to do.
Yeah.
All right. And then we have a letter from Eversource just to inform everyone that they will be spraying approved herbicide along abutting the right of way along all the Eversource lines and places like that. And in wetlands locations, they use a special application that's approved for water areas. So that's that. Selectmen's reports. You have anything to add, Chris?
Just that we will be meeting with Cardinal Engineering this coming Wednesday, 9 in the morning, the Bridge and Infrastructure Committee, to review the proposal for the reworked proposal for a grant application for all the other bridges in town. And I think I also included on the agenda to review a potential temporary fix for the big bridge to on Cobble Road. Right. So we'll be discussing that
Sounds good.
ad nauseum.
Yeah, it's a long process. The only thing I have to add is Monica had her open house over at the new yoga place there, and I hear it's going very well. I have not attended any classes, so I'm not sure, but she's very popular, and it's nice to have another place in town. All right, we'll move on to old business, 35 Railroad Street. I don't know anything.
No updates.
Affordable Housing Task Force.
Haven't heard anything there.
No. Cobble Road Culvert and Bridge.
You
I
just
think
talked
you
about
just
that.
did that. And new business, the tax rebates and consideration of suspension lists. That is the one you wanted to table.
Right, that's part of the tax collector's report, correct?
Yeah.
So
We have to pass it to the Board of Finance, so that's included.
yeah, table, we won't touch it tonight.
Yeah.
The tax rebate section.
Right, it's on our. Okay, so
So-
that tax and rebate we can, I move that we forward that to the Board of Finance for consideration. The suspension list.
Okay,
Approved to recommend to Board of Finance. So
yeah.
Approve, yeah.
Did you get that, Peg?
No, can you repeat that?
Can you repeat that?
You moved to forward it to Board of Finance?
Make the recommendation to the Board of Finance
Mhm.
for approval, the suspension list.
Okay. And the tax rebate, so,
The tax rebates and
and
suspension
suspension.
list.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, and then we have the request for the town green for National Day of Prayer, which happens every year. This is Dear Selectmen, the Falls Village National Day of Prayer this year will be Thursday, May 7th. We again plan to hold the Falls Village event on the town green at noon. I believe this will be our 16th annual National Day of Prayer commemoration on the town green. If our plans meet with your approval, would you please let Tim Down know that we are setting up the green with chairs at 11 a.m.? And we'll be done by 1 p.m. so that they are not mowing during this time. We'll be a little distracted. We deeply appreciated the involvement of the first selectman, David Barger, since he has held office, but perhaps others would like to participate as well. If so, please feel free to contact me as the coordinator of the Falls Village National Day of Prayer this year, as well as for the past 15 years. Yours truly, Chuck Lewis. So I make a motion to allow Chuck Lewis and all those who want to participate the use of the green on May 7th for National Day of Prayer.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Then we have under new business. Letter from the Recreation Commission regarding appointment of commission member Kathleen Wales as commission secretary. So my only concern is Catherine going to have a salary for this?
Yes,
So she can't be a board member if she's getting a salary.
yes. And that was something that will be discussed.
Okay. There is a town ordinance on it,
Mm-hmm,
so we're kind of obligated to comply with that.
that's fine.
So I'll make a motion to postpone any decision or table any decision until we hear back from the rec commission on which direction they want to go.
Okay,
Thank you, Melissa.
no problem.
I'll
Okay,
second that.
all in favor?
Any discussion? I think I would like maybe we can review that ordinance. It's there have been, I mean, we've broken the law already a couple times. Not to say that that's okay, but
Disagreeing with you.
right. So I think we could potentially try and understand the meaning behind that ordinance. If we have a hard time, of course, that's a paid position. Um,
It's with a lot of our commissions too. that
Yeah, right,
ordinance,
right, right.
so it's not
So
just
if we-
exclusively. for
okay,
rec.
so I'll second that and
And we'll,
eliminate any more discussion.
the ordinances will all be reviewed, so. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then we have, um, letter from Inland Wetlands Conservation Committee to appoint Marlene Van Gulik from alternate member to permanent member of the commission.
So moved. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Any discussion?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And any other business?
I have nothing.
I have nothing. Any public comment? And we'll just wait for a presentation by Doug.
And he was told 6:30.
Yeah.
He'll be here shortly.
So we can relax for a couple minutes while we
Can we
wait for
table
Doug.
the owl?
You can pause the owl.
Should we pause it? Pause just the owl
Pause the recording.
or the recording? And then just start it.
Any Red Sox fans? All right, very good stuff. Thanks for joining us. I know you guys are always very busy and there's a lot of items. I'm on the Planning and Zoning Committee is Kim Mahoney and Tim Metzger, who will be coming. We're also on a newly introduced a new subcommittee, all related to the POCD. If you're not familiar with the POCD, I hope everybody is, but it's our plan of conservation and development, which is actually a state mandate. Every city, town, municipality, every 10 years has to have a plan. And this coming year was 2023, actually sat down, started building it, took almost a year and a half. A lot of hearings, a lot of public comment, a lot of feedback surveys. We ended up with the end result that everybody voted on. That eventually goes to the state and becomes basically a legal document. So do they track it? Do they watch this? Who knows, right? The way things go these days. But what we're trying to do as a town, and why we developed this subcommittee, is to try to track progress over the 10 years. Hopefully I'm here in 10 years, but we want to see if we can help. We want to see if we can move the town's initiatives along. And our committee then is really trying to be a support system. We're going to give you as much information as possible. We have built into our website a workbook, which is basically a synopsis of the POCD itself. And if you open it up, it's just kind of a Excel type program. Down below, we have, well, there's probably 8 or 10 tabs, each with a specific category of whether it's transportation or affordability or sustainability or whatever, open spaces. There's a tab down below. On the front page, if you go one of the handouts, is a legend. So on the workbook, the very first page, we've laid out basically everybody that in this town is either part of a board or a commission or somehow works to help us build and develop the town. So it could be the appeals group, it could be all of us here tonight, especially Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen, Rec Committee, and the P and Z probably have more things to do than anybody. But overall, it touches everybody in town. So we've laid out a legend that shows you who's who by just a 2-letter explanation or whatever. And what we're trying to do is just get people to start using it, basically. Open it up, see where you're at. I know a lot of good things have come to be. The grant group put together with the rec committee a nice steep grant, I believe, and that's sort of in the works or moving forward. That'll check off a lot of things that the town has said they'd like to see happen over the next 10 years. So that's kind of our task. We want to help you identify those things in your areas that need to be addressed at some point and try to help you move that forward if we can. The one caveat to the workbook right now is that only Kim Mahoney, our commissioner, can do any editing on it. So if you have something and you want to add to it, you need to reach out to her at this point. We're going to set it up down the road so that you can go in and play around with your own stuff too. But right now, because it's a legal document and we don't want people going in and sort of erasing what they don't like or whatever, we just thought it would be better for one person to control the input to the document right now. So Kim's email address is planningandzoning.mahoney@gmail, I believe, right? And that's on the website if you want to reach out to her. So without going too into it, if you have time at some point, I would ask you to go into the town website, go into planning and zoning. Under resources, all the way to the right, there'll be a box. The POCD is buried in there. You'll find the most current one if you want to go through it. But all the way down the bottom of the page under links is where you'll find the workbook. And it's very accessible. I think it's pretty well laid out so that it sort of identifies those things in each category that need to be addressed or at least looked at. A lot of them are broad-based. We need to change the world kind of stuff, which is wonderful. Realistic, I don't know, but these are things that, get us started in the right direction. The irony, I think, about the whole process, if you go back to 2013, the last one, or 03, 10 years apart, the priorities that our town people decided on are much different. Today, affordability, like everywhere, is right up on top, as is protecting the feel and look of the village center protecting open spaces. This year in particular, we built in a lot of different support systems to try to help local farmers. We at P&Z have been rewriting our regs and amending them for about 2 years, and quite a bit of it includes that. So if there's local farmers or people who, work in small businesses, that type of thing, we're trying to encourage them, and we're relieving them a little bit of the restrictions that used to be on the books as far as land use goes for Falls Village. So it's kind of in a nutshell that. Work in progress. We have 10 years to hopefully get things done. Things are moving quickly in some regards, some areas. But if you go through it and identify the things that are important to you, and then maybe keep in touch with the state, there might be monies out there to help us get it done too. But if we're not paying attention right now, you know how financial cycles go, it may not be there in the next turn. So I would only ask that you look at it, maybe study it a little bit. Any questions or anything we can help you with, come and ask, please. You're welcome at our meetings, third Thursday of every month. And shoot an email. We met with the rec committee last week. I thought it was a great meeting. We have a lot of things that can be addressed up on that town farm. And that crosses over to a lot of categories, economic development, if we can turn it into some sort of revenue generating thing. It can be that recreation center during the summer. I think people who grew up in the area know we used to have that over on Page, right, at the daycare center. And kids would go there for the day, and it was a full recreation program. So there's a lot of potential up there, and they're doing a great job getting us there. The pavilion is going to come along, and Lou was in the other day, and he has a nice, what do you call them, cupola to go up top. So there's some good things happening up there, and we offer them the same support or help, whatever we could do to just move these things along. So, Kim, you want to add anything?
I am certain, I apologize for missing the first part, I'm certain I covered everything very well.
Yeah.
Started that, so it wasn't.
Yeah, that was our fault.
Oh.
You move it right along. People like that. Any questions or anything you see that may need to be addressed, or anything we can help you with along the way? Amy?
It's just a question. If you don't have the answer, it's perfectly fine. But of course, the Board of Finance and of course the Board of Selectmen too are very challenged to make sure that we keep the mill rate down as best we can, and it becomes extremely challenging. I reread the planning, the COPD, and it was not just 50% of our land that was non-taxable, but then there were these other reduced tax rates and things like that. So I was just wondering if in your work, if there were any things that popped out at you that were alternative revenue sources that you guys were just kind of very gently thinking about, without diving in and just making any decisions.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, no, it's sort of a learning experience for us too as we go. And, this has all been kind of phase one, just to get it into the system, develop the workbook, give people an option to get in and start poking around like you did, and I'm glad you did. But no, I mean, that's always a question here, right? As long as I've been here, economic is the major thing, and of course, taxation becomes the thing every time this year. No, I don't have anything specific to offer.
And that's why the grants keep, working with the grants group is so important.
Yeah.
It can help us, get some of these things accomplished that there aren't the resources to otherwise. Right.
And for our part, the P&Z, we're trying to remove the little bit more restrictive regulations that don't allow people to set up shop maybe as a small business at home or whatever. So, you'll get the information about it when we're done with the whole thing, but we're kind of reworking some of the business zone, residential zoning, and trying to open it up a little bit and take away some of the roadblocks that did exist. It was a little more restricted years ago.
Anything connected to home building in that regard, like smaller lots or different kinds of structures? I'm not really.
Yeah. So one of the key things that's come around lately is ADUs. right? So if you're thinking about a parent apartment type of thing or whatever, it was pretty tight restriction wise. So that's been opened up a little bit. And we're trying to look at frontage and, you know, what the visibility thing of it would be. A lot of little things that would otherwise be restricted for that type of development. So it's small, but it's one of those things.
Right.
So I think you may see that, some of that building, some of that development coming along. Uh, we don't have a lot of property to play with, right?
So,
And I should say too, that the state, it's not a mandate, it's not a number they're gonna hold our feet to the fire on, but they wanna see statewide 10% more affordable housing. So we're working on that, but for us, that would be 70 new houses or properties. That's a lot, right? Where do we go with it? So we're trying to figure out how we work into the system without pushing it to that extreme, I think. And, you know, we're still, the application is still active for the River Road proposal up there. We're working through that. And there's a couple little bumps we're dealing with, but so there are things like that going on. We also talked in our last meeting about how do we entice developers to come into the area? So that is absolutely economic. You know, if you go places, the film industry in California is losing business because New York is cheaper to make films, you know, this kind of thing. So developers aren't going to look at affordable housing projects or proposals if they're not going to be able to make something out of that too. So we're working on that a little bit on the PNC as well. Just trying to
looks like you're looking at all sorts of things, and thank you.
try it. We'll try it.
One little, and this is very minor as it relates to revenue, that you were mentioning earlier, that just hit me. As we go through, we've been going through and kind of systematically working through some of the regulations and updating those. You know, Janelle has pointed out to us instances where the fee for certain applications for certain things have just been at that rate forever and ever, and now don't even cover the cost to do it. So we have been working to look for those opportunities. That's super minor, of course, but we have been looking, we're looking for opportunities where that makes sense. While we are still trying to open things up and make things easier and more straightforward.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, you had said that for the last couple of years, you were looking at some of the PNC regulations. Now, are those changes made by PNC and PNC only, or do some of those things have to go for town vote?
some do have to go through town vote, yeah. So what did we just finish? We're working on,
She just sent us an updated draft. Yeah, we have some stuff we're working on right now.
I forget the heading.
Yeah.
Anyway, yes, so that's something that would go to town meeting. And quite often, if it's just a hearing sort of thing, we invite people in every time. So it's usually on the agenda if it's gonna be kind of a hot button you wanna have to talk about, or you want people to talk about. And always welcome, you know, we're just trying to figure it out too. We don't at the moment have things, but there are things coming up that will go to town hearing. So hopefully we can group them all together, it'll be one meeting, you know, kind of thing.
Great,
But yeah, absolutely have to.
Hearing though, not a meeting.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Keeping us on track of what needs to
Yeah.
go in front of everyone.
And everything's changed over the years so much, you know, P and Z wise, planning and zoning. And you get them daily, you get daily updates about how the state's readjusting this or that, and you can either go along with it or not, but if it works, quite often we do. But just, it's trying to keep up, and that's sort of what long-term, what this is gonna be. I think it's highlighted, number one, what the town wants. And number two, some of the things that exist that might be in the way of those things being achieved, and we're trying to get those out of the way. So in your workbooks, when you open it up, you'll always see two categories. One is yellow, one is blue. One is the action steps that we'd like to see taken to achieve the goals. The other one is the policies that might be in the way of achieving those things. So P and Z is changing policies. You know, there's quite a few for the Board of Selectmen, and I think one or two for the Board of Finance that might require a look at your policies to see if it needs to be adjusted. And again, it's all, you know, I don't know that it's law that somebody's gonna come in and, you know, raid our meeting one night, and say you're not doing this or that, but it's sort of what we wanna do. That's what the town has asked to do. So we're just trying to clear the road a little bit, let it happen, you know.
Doug, I appreciate you coming in and, I just, one, kind of clarify, when we're using this worksheet, for instance, 2.4, promote economic development. One of the items for the Board of Selectmen in action items is, explore using town-owned properties to support economic development in Falls Village. Is there reference in the POCD that would give us a little more information on that, to help guide us through, or spearhead some ideas or whatever?
These action items and policies, this is literally, we just replicated this. This is all in the P O C D. And so in that section, that 2.1 section, there is a more of a narrative and a little bit of background to give context.
Okay,
This was just kind of, we pulled the table
Right.
out to help us in tracking it.
okay,
Some of them still are.
Then some of them are still very,
That's forage.
and to be honest, there's some that we're never gonna check off the list as done.
right,
Because we might continually be looking for new revenue sources or expanding business development, so they'll always be there. But we can still, even though that's the case for some of these, we can still have progress notes that this year we tried this or researched this, whatever that might be.
Yeah.
But you're right, there is sometimes more context in the full report, but sometimes it's still broad.
But then it becomes a task for the Board of Selectmen or whomever, because there's a couple items in there that actually recommended you create subcommittees to handle stuff like that, like the solar or whatever. But something like that might need more exploration, it might need reaching out to property owners, it might, this sort of thing. So it's really kind of an umbrella, kind of a blanket statement about it all.
mhm,
But if you look around, there's just, where else do we go?
yeah,
You're not gonna be able to build or. So we're trying to look at all alternatives and maybe that works. If it just came out of comments from people that showed up at the public hearing,
okay,
On the flip side, you have people that are just concerned. They don't want necessarily, we're talking about economic development and sometimes that might change the profile of a village or whatever. And there's people who don't want that.
mhm,
So we're trying to figure out ways to get it done without stepping on everybody's toes or anybody's toes for that matter. And we're adjusting again our rates to help lay out a different framework to get stuff done.
yeah, it's only a guide, it's sort of a, I understand the
Yeah,
concept behind it.
yeah. It's much easier. I printed these out just so you didn't have to go on the computers tonight. I think it's much easier to go online and see it. And you can click anywhere you want to go. You can highlight, you can print pages, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You just can't edit it.
Yeah, right, good, well,
Yeah,
Yeah, well, we just didn't want any accidental.
it's a safety feature.
Yes,
Yeah.
What do you think?
I am so grateful that you did this because it means like we can see it really clearly and we can, it's identified with action and everything. And of course, the report's great, but this is like, okay, it's awesome. Work now.
I think it helps to clearly identify the things that that the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen, or us, that is kind of under our purview, that sort of thing. So that kind of helps, I think, a little bit of ownership and.
You'll also see, in that legend, all, which is everybody, which could include Torrington Area Health or some outside, departments that are helping us or not helping us one way or the other. So it's kind of a broad thing, but if it helps each group in our town to identify what they should be looking at or paying attention to, I think we're already ahead of the game. And then to get it done, it's gonna take more work, of course, and money and who knows, but it's never been tracked over the last 3 or 4 cycles of POCD. So we don't know if we've ever really moved it forward or not. And it's not a major change that, you'll never see skyscrapers, of course, but even the smaller items, are we helping farmers, live a better life, sell their product, be able to, make good on what they're doing and everything. And it's been a little bit restrictive, so, stuff like that I think helps.
But hopefully, if we're able to kind of track this over the next, whatever, I guess, maybe at 9 years or whatever at this point, but then when the time comes to do the next POCD, we have all this documented information of what we have accomplished, hopefully in one place, that would facilitate that process when the next one comes around.
Yeah, I should say too, in terms of monies and finance, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when the steep grant went in, one of the questions the state had was, how does it apply to your POCD? So the connection's there at the state level. And if that's a hint that says your grant's not gonna go through, if you're not tying it into the POCD, then it needs to be, and we can help you do that. Denise's group and they're pulling it all together have done it, so they have more experience that way as well, but whatever the POCD, or whatever we need to do as P and Z to help you, if it's a grant type of thing, let us know. We'll help you tie it in somehow.
So, question, because I see that, like, you have different groups that are responsible for different pieces. And I'm just wondering how you're getting the word out to those groups that they are responsible for that part of the POC.
Yeah, not easy.
Right.
So right now, I sent out, last fall, I think, kind of an invitation letter. And just an introduction to the subcommittee, and this is what we're doing, and we gave them the link to the, and then, I asked if we could come meet with them in a meeting sometime. So that was last fall.
We actually had a meeting there, we invited people, it was one.
Yeah, yeah, and then, so we're kind of going that route. I'm emailing and I'm finding out who's in charge and whatnot. We're trying to, be professional and cordial about it.
Sure.
And some people came back. We did have a meeting where Board of Finance, Board of Selectmen,
Fire commission, Kim was there.
yes, came, and that was our initial meeting, and it was great just to, have people come. So it's a little bit of a struggle to get people to come if they don't see the value in it, maybe, I don't know. But we'll continue to reach out, and we're trying to make meetings as we go. If you want to invite us anytime, we'll be there to come and do a presentation or help you work through something if that's the case. We're wide open to it. So right now, it's really just trying to work through town, get it out to all the principals, all the boards and commissions.
Well, I think you want buy-in, so I think it's important for, for us to get all the different groups.
Yeah.
To make sure they understand the work and the mission
Yeah.
kind of put forth here, right?
To be on the
So,
same page.
yeah.
Maybe that's the page that we.
Right,
digital.
so, and I just think about that because I saw fire department stuff and she said fire commission, but as the president of the fire company, some of this is actually not fire commission, but actual membership.
Okay,
So I see it a little bit differently. So I'm wondering if we don't need to sit down and,
I don't know.
make sure
Absolutely.
we're all in the line.
And we should definitely, this is off in future, but when the next one comes around, because we're not supposed to be editing the POCD, right? Like, we're just tracking.
Right, no, you're
Right.
gonna just.
But
that.
I think when we go to do the next one, we need to make those
Mhm.
adjustments in there so that it reflects properly the next time around.
Right, I mean, I think both the commission and the department, but we
Yes,
have different functions,
absolutely.
right? So, but I see things that both groups, and I can only speak for the organization I'm part of. This probably applies to other organizations in the town as well, so.
Sure, that's a good point.
Well,
Yeah.
actually,
Nobody's excluded in that.
No, I didn't think we were excluded, I just wanted to make sure that, that everybody understands. So that we're on the same page, so we can work towards the same goal.
I
Yeah,
guess as the consultant.
well, I would welcome if you're talking to people, throw it
Sure.
out there, just remind them it's here and it's available.
Well, we may wanna have you come visit
Sure.
with us at some point. so we
Absolutely.
can-
Absolutely.
So we can, make sure that we can share our mission with each other.
I think my guess is the consultant who really wrote it, didn't.
Distinguish.
Correct, right, yeah,
I think that'd be great for us to sit
Right.
down and us.
and I attended the meetings when you had the big public meeting where we went through this process early on. So I think there's a lot of potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good,
Actually, of course, we can't edit the POCD, but this is a work sheet. This is a workbook.
Yes.
And like you have, if any of us have like, see an error like that,
Yeah,
we could just send it to you.
100%.
And it
Yes.
could be clarified.
I
after
don't
like a
actually
meeting.
see it as an error. I just
No.
see it as,
Well, clarification, there are
Yeah.
people, but they've listed certain people responsible, but it's not quite the right part
Yeah.
of that organization, right?
Well, I think that's.
well, with both parts. That's all.
Yeah, I mean, with the progress notes, like in mine, if I'm editing this, I'm not necessarily gonna change the action items and policy things the way it's laid out, because that ties to the draft of the P O C D. But in the notes, I'm gonna track, we need to change this for next time, or this is what's more appropriate here, that kind of thing. So 100%, if there are things like that that you see, by all means, please let me know. I think because that'll help with tracking this time, and then help us do a better job with the P O C D next time. Definitely.
Cool. Anything else? Thank you. I appreciate your time
Thank
and
you, Doug.
that's all we can do to help.
All righty.
That's Dave's, I guess.
I'll give
I'll
it
sit
to,
down.
I put it in his box.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right.
All righty. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
It's 6:51. I second it.
Sorry.
Aye.
Good job.
You do, Chris. Thank you.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Recording in progress. Okay, I am going to call the Board of Finance regular meeting for April 13th to order. We are going to see alternates. I'll entertain a motion to seat Hazel for Kurt.
So
Thank you, and me, Tom. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment. Agenda amendments.
I'd like to add, a comment to new business about, the formality of meetings and, how we approach public comments.
where are we at in that?
We are at
Business.
agenda
We're
and amendments.
Anyone
So
to add it to new business?
Tom is opposing. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
So that's 10B.
That'll be 10B.
Okay.
Any other agenda?
Yes.
All right. Then. Who do we have from King and King? I'm way down here, not being able to see. Is it Chris?
It's Deb, I think, and Chris.
Hello.
So we can hear them. We can hear them. Okay. So. We have your presentation. Michelle kindly printed it out for us. So whenever you would like to start.
Okay. All right. So we'll do this pretty much the same as we do every year. We always do a summary presentation. And honestly, a lot of our towns now are remote like this. A few still are in person. This is the first time remote for you. But we'll go through the presentation. The first page, it says audit overview. What I was trying to do this year is just go through the various responsibilities of the people involved in the audit process. Board level responsibilities, I would say that's the Board of Finance. You're not doing the processing of transactions, but you have oversight of that process and of the internal controls that are used in that process. You set the tone at the top as management. And then you do communicate with the auditors. You hire the auditors. We both us and you are entitled to talk to each other. A lot of times we don't talk until this point, the end, which is relatively good. Sometimes we have to talk to boards of finance during the process if we had significant difficulties with the people that we're dealing with. So talking to us at the end is generally a good thing. Then I have the section called management responsibilities. And this, I think I would call this the people inside town hall. The selectman's office, for example, and the treasurer's office. They're actually doing the transactions, preparing financial statements and other schedules, many other schedules, reports that have to be submitted to the state. They're implementing the processes and controls that are approved at the highest levels of management. And then they're also adjusting and reconciling the numbers in the financial statements. That's part of their responsibilities. And they are the first line of defense in fraud prevention and detection. You don't want to wait and see if the auditors find something. You want um, your people in town hall to detect and monitor and hopefully not find fraud, but deter fraud through the procedures that are implemented. Our responsibilities are to give you a report on those financial statements that are prepared by the town. And that report is based on testing that we do, um, and evaluation, number crunching, interviews that we do, information that we gather from the state, from the tax office, from the town clerk's office. We put it all together. Um, and part of our responsibility is to design the right procedures and the right testing to address the risks in the town. And then we get to this point where we are here. We prevent or present any deficiencies that we find or any non-compliance with laws and grants. So, um, your next page, I think, is audit scope. Um, you have a core financial statement report. It has lots of financial statements and schedules and note disclosures and our opinions that we give. You did not have a state single audit this year, and this is the first time. And honestly, it's the first time we've encountered this. And it's simply because the state requirements increased. It used to be if you had $300,000 of state grants, you had to have a grant compliance audit. They raised that threshold to $500,000. Falls Village did not receive $500,000 of state grants. So I don't know. This might be an unintended consequence of the new rules. We'll see, because we've never seen a town that did not have to have one of these state compliance audits. But anyway, in the meantime, it saves you a little bit of money. We didn't charge for that portion of the audit this year. And then the final section that we do has to do with the Board of Ed, and they report a lot of data upstream to the State Department of Education, and that's called the EFS system. So the State Department of Ed provides a list of procedures and testing that we do, and then that report goes through the superintendent's office to the State Department of Education. So you actually never see that as the Board of Finance. Our next page talks about highlights in our financial report. The very beginning of it is an auditor's opinion. It's unmodified, which is good. Then there's a, I don't mention it here, but there's a management discussion and analysis section, which is a very summarized high-level discussion. Tells people how many funds you have and things like that. Page 11 starts the first set of financials, a very summarized government-wide financial statements, where it really collapses a lot of the activity of the town into one column. And this set of financials has depreciation and debt in it. So it's a full accrual basis, just as if you were a for-profit entity. But then starting on page 13, you have fund basis statements, which is probably more of how you think on a regular basis. And in those fund basis statements, you'll see the general fund. And then you'll see what's called major funds, which are larger funds. And then you have non-major funds combined in their own column. So you did have unassigned fund balance of $982,000 at the end of the year, which is just doing a formula. It's 17% of your budgeted expenditures, annual budgeted expenditures. And bond rating agencies generally look for 12 to 15%. So you're just a little bit above what a bond agency defines as a good fund balance level.
The 996, 479?
Wait, 982, 415.
Oh, you're looking here. I was
Oh.
looking on the audit. Okay.
Yeah, no.
So then the next thing we talk about here is page 31, which is your which is in the middle of your note disclosures. Um, and we highlight or emphasize the liability section here. Really the second bullet item, it's a new GASB standard, and there's practically a new standard every year. There's already some we're talking about implementing for next year. Next year's will be more of a formatting and presentation change. But this year, for this audit, what we had to do, or what the town had to do, honestly, is they had to remeasure their paid time off, but both on the town side and the Board of Ed side. And it used to be a measurement of what people could take with them when they separate from employment. So it's paid out at termination. But now the measurement has changed to of what people have available to them for PTO. What are they likely to use between today and the last day that they work, which is higher. Because, for example, sick time you may not be able to take with you, but you will use sick time. So we found that municipalities' liability for PTO increased with the implementation of the standard. It's kind of a technical thing, but that's in the financials for this year. We also always have to include the pension plans for the certified teachers, even though the towns aren't responsible to contribute. The state does all the contributions. The portion of the state plan attributable to the Canaan teachers is 3.18 million. And for the they have an OPEB liability, other post-employment benefits. For health insurance, that's 652,000. Because the state subsidizes health insurance for certified teachers at retirement in certain situations. Again, you're not required to fund any of that. The next page is a 3-year trend of fund balances, and this is more than just the general fund. This is basically all of your funds. And we talked about the 982,415 earlier as the unassigned portion, which is in that left-hand column. And then the other chunk that's actually larger, 1.4 million, that's committed. Most of that is capital money, capital projects. So that's in the bank accounts, but it's committed by the town's people to various projects. So you can see those two kind of major components of fund balance. They move year to year depending on the funding and surpluses and what projects are being used. So the detail on that's on the next page. And again, we can find those numbers. The 982,415 is the bottom or near the bottom of the first column. The committed of 1,435, that's there's a couple lines that are committed. The biggest one being capital projects. There's also the LoSAP for the EMS workers. That's their retirement plan, and a couple other buckets of money. Then the next page, we talk a little bit about what happened with the budget. And this is actually going to be a change next year in the formatting. If you looked at pages 50 to 52, right now it has the original budget, the amended budget, the actual expenditures, and the difference between the final budget and actual. Next year, we have to add columns to show the variance between the original and the amended budget. So I guess it'll be a little more transparent when you add, in this case, 5,500 for legal. You'll see it'll show the original, amended, and variance, so people can see the changes that were made to the various components of the budget in the financial statements. Again, that's for fiscal year 26, but you can see you initially were going to dip into fund balance to balance the budget for 149,000. and then you made some additional appropriations to dip into fund balance more to uh, fund various obligations. But um, at the end of it, you didn't have to use any. So that's good. You had favorable results, and you actually added $48,000 to fund balance. Um, and then right after that, there are a couple pages that show Board of Ed non-lapsing account. Board of Ed non-lapsing account is actually a sub account of the town general fund. So you don't see it in its own fund. So a lot of people like this presentation where they can see the activity of the non-lapsing account within the general fund. So we've got an ending balance of just about $30,000 at year end. And then the other thing we mentioned here is the outstanding taxes receivable, 1.3%. We always internally, this is our own guide, 2 to 8% is what we like to see. And honestly, when you get up to 8%, that's kind of high. 2% is it was the low side. People were a little bit lower for during COVID, but they're starting to tick up like a tenth of a percent. So people are coming back up to 1.9 to 2.1. Most people are still pretty low and pretty good on their tax collections. Again, if we start to get close to 8 or higher, we're going to start to look at things a little bit differently and figure out why the taxes receivable are getting higher. We do have some comments in our management letter this year. So that is a separate letter. It has each finding. We describe the condition and our recommendation. Um, Mine doesn't have the management response. I know that we have management responses.
We
Oh, we
do.
Do you have the ones with the responses?
Yeah.
You do.
Okay, so we did get responses on every single one. Um, the first one is actually the most common finding we probably have, and it's probably becoming more frequent in towns because the town and the Board of Ed are generally two separate general ledgers, but they're all the Board of Ed money comes out of the general fund. They need to reconcile that flow of money. And that was an area that was one of the delays this year in us getting going. And the towns that really have it down good, they're reconciling monthly between the school business manager and the town treasurer's office. And again, even then, it's our most common thing as most common finding as the accounting gets more and more complicated, honestly, on both sides. Bank reconciliations. Um, Certain of the bank accounts are not reconciled inside the general ledger. Um,
In QuickBooks,
right in
in the
QuickBooks.
software.
I think, but previously you could not do them in the system when you had the old Alden Novak Dodd, but now you can. Um, both sides are using QuickBooks, and we really would. It just helps to make sure that you're reconciling the ledger. I mean, you can reconcile your bank account, but if you don't make all the adjustments in the ledger, it's not a complete process. So that's our comment on the bank reconciliations. Um, Board of Ed non-lapsing fund. So this is relatively new. There have been non-lapsing funds for maybe 10 years, but there was a new revision to those rules. And a lot of boards of ed like to have their own bank account. We don't recommend it, but it happens. One of the reasons we don't recommend it is because now you have another bank account outside the central system and it doesn't get reconciled back in. So that's the comment here. And that we had to go through the activity and reconcile it to get to the ending balance.
And the response seems to be that it now is being done? Yes, okay, good.
The next
When we
one,
initially came out for interim field work, the town side did not have copies of the bank statements. The bank statements are going directly to the school. So I had requested them, and then part of the reconciling the town and the Board of Ed included this non-lapsing account because the town transferred money to cover the check that the Board of Ed wrote to open this account. So it all kind of needed to come together. So Michelle is now getting copies of the statements from the school.
Great, good.
Debbie, do you want to talk about the next one too while you're at it?
The general ledger account maintenance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some areas where QuickBooks can be utilized more effectively. So when we were out for field work, I pointed out a few things to Michelle, and so she agreed with me. One of the comments is with the reserve fund. She has a separate QuickBooks company, and she's not utilizing the classes consistently, which means the activity for each reserve fund would be reported in a separate column. So she had activity reported as unclassified, and she didn't realize it was happening. I pointed it out to her. She's gonna work on being a little more diligent with that. And then utilizing the payable function at year end, she had entered a bunch of invoices to be paid, and she wrote the checks. And in order to get it in the correct fiscal year, I'm going back to Alden Novak, she would have to date the check June 30th. Whereas with QuickBooks, as long as the invoice was dated June 30th, it would be reported in the correct year. So, we made an adjustment. We determined what checks should have been in accounts payable, restore the cash, credit the accounts payable. And she didn't even realize what had happened. And it's just the learning curve, QuickBooks versus Alden Novak.
Yeah, we barely had QuickBooks for a year, so.
Right, right.
You're making progress, that's good. Yeah.
She had a lot going on in her first year of being treasurer.
Yeah, the Alden Novak, even though it was designed for municipalities, it was very limited, and so you didn't really have that option. You had to kind of override things. So you've been doing it that way for years, but now, even though QuickBooks doesn't seem like it's a huge sophisticated system, it does give you that ability to do the payables correctly. And so it's a new process that you're now able to do.
And then, I suggested that she could maintain cash receipts on a customer basis. So then if she wanted to go back in QuickBooks and say, I know I got a check from the state of Connecticut. What was it for? She could run a history of all the activity from the state of Connecticut rather than just using it like a register. And so she was going to look into that. So, there's some areas where she can improve moving forward. There were some also on the Board of Ed side. And, I was in communication with Cindy Webb, and so she's also got a few things to work on her end too. Another thing we identified is there are some grant funds that come to the town, and they actually get transferred to Region 1 revolving fund. And there has to be a little bit more communication because Kellogg wasn't always aware of it, or the town didn't know that it got transferred to Region 1. And in the reconciliation process, we identified a grant that actually went to Region 1. The revenue was deposited by the town, but then a check was written to Region 1, and Region 1 administered the grant.
Yeah, grant identification is another kind of hot topic in our municipal audits. The state and the federal government want to be sure that everyone is identified and reported correctly. And sometimes when they kind of flow through real quick, they don't always get captured. So,
Do we have a
um,
grant? I'm sorry, Chris, do we have receivable, like every individual, or do we have just a single grant receivable account that we could flow through? Does Debbie know?
A grant receivable account?
Or some sort of account that when it comes in, it doesn't just
It goes into our other state
other state.
revenue.
Okay.
So it would be receivable other state revenue, I
Receivable,
guess.
receivable other state. Okay, fair enough.
we have another comment regarding separation of duties, which is an internal control, and it's tough in a small town hall. And so you had a vacant position, so that the permit the processing of permits wasn't being looked at by a second set of eyes. Um, so building permits is an area that we focused on several years ago, and we still take a look at it. And so our comment is basically saying, um, as long as manual permits are being issued, should be a second set of eyes on that and the collections on those fees. A lot of towns have gone to online permitting software,
Does
which
that
provide
eliminate the need for that?
pretty much because now you've got this permanent record that's generated by the users. It's
Got
kind
it.
of like a receipt book that's forced to be generated by the users when they apply for a permit. So, um, one other thing, it's not in our management letter. A little bit of maybe accountant humor here, but I know that you don't. We've been doing the audit for a while, and it's a different board of finance than it was 5 years ago. And I once mentioned perhaps consolidating some of your bank accounts, and particularly in the capital project side. And the reaction of the board, again, it wasn't a finding, it was more just a suggestion. The board at that time said, and they recalled that there was some sort of scenario where I think various projects, their identity got lost and they got kind of commingled, and they never wanted that to happen again. And they thought the solution for that was to have a separate bank account for every capital project. So we counted twice. You have 48 bank accounts, which is one bank account per, is it 22 people in town?
Yeah, 20.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, one bank account per 22 people. That's a lot of bank accounts. So we're just
Yeah.
thinking that's our humor, right? We do math. Um, we're thinking that if you could consolidate even just those capital projects into one, you probably would be getting better investment return on the town side now that interest rates have come back up from virtually zero to just a little bit more than zero. But the resistance in the past was a concern that you would lose track of the individual projects. Now, Debbie mentioned earlier using the classes in QuickBooks for capital projects, and that's one of the ways that you would track each project and not lose sight of it. Also, a lot of towns also have a supplemental Excel spreadsheet that they use. It's just a necessary evil. But in return, it'd be nice to not get 48 bank statements every month and maybe
To
just get
reconcile.
24.
Actually, what you say with the classes and even the customer feature would really help support that consolidation. Because you could track it all.
Has, by any chance, has QuickBooks evolved to the point where we used to do years ago when I had similar idea of, 20 funds and we had to distribute the interest each month, do it in Excel based on the balance. Has QuickBooks evolved to that? It's been a long time since I've used QuickBooks.
No. The
Yeah,
only thing
so
that we know that allocates is true fund accounting software. And you're looking at, 50 grand to get into
no,
it.
no, that's fine. I just
Um,
so that's where the
Yeah.
supplemental Excel will come in.
but you
But the
could
interest
make
the
better
interest
interest rate.
the interest perhaps should be or could be in the undesignated fund. the interest typically isn't added to a project because a project is approved by how much money is put in. If you put in 50,000 into a project, that's what the town approved to expend, not 50,000 plus interest. So I
That
don't really
makes
think you
sense.
would want to allocate all the interest.
All right, good, I'm glad we asked.
So it's an option, yeah.
Yeah, but that makes sense. So undesignated, yep.
And again, I know the previous board, they had a bad experience with something and they just didn't want to consider it. But you have new software, new people.
We're gonna fix that. Don't worry.
I had a question, on the Connecticut single audit. It's just my ignorance. If you get a federal grant, are there requirements to do any audits with regard to single, federal grants?
Yeah, it's they're similar but different in that you keep the state completely separate from the federal, and that threshold's now $1 million.
Okay.
So maybe if you did a bridge project,
Right.
you might get a federal single audit.
They do have a
Thanks, Ben.
state grant coming, so they might be subject to a state single audit again in the future.
Hmm.
Right, right. Yeah, thank you.
It's based on funds expended.
Ah, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sometimes
Based
I've had some towns who manage their federal funds so they don't have to have us do federal single audits. Especially with the ARPA money. They made sure they spent it in different years so they didn't cross the thresholds. You may
Okay,
not,
so
if you had a bridge, you wouldn't have that flexibility.
So both the state funds in that category and federal funds are all both based on funds expended in that year?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
And that's tricky. When I talk about grant identification earlier, sometimes we'll have a town that will spend money and then get reimbursed later, and they didn't tell us about it. So then we don't do the calculations correctly, and we have to go back. So when you have a reimbursement project, we need to know this is a grant that we're spending now, and we're going to get revenues later because the testing has to be done when the money's spent, not when it's received.
And it also includes education grants. So if a $16,000 grant came deposited to the town and ended up at Region One's revolving fund, that would be included if it were a state grant or a federal grant.
Federal, yeah, mostly federal on that side.
Yeah.
And I had another stupid question. It is a stupid question. I can't find on pages 13 and 15 the unassigned fund balance of 982,415 in the audit. So but it's just me. Or
No,
maybe it's a page number. Maybe
I
it's just
I need to double check the one I printed for myself, page 13 on the bottom is the wrong version, and I don't know if that's the one you have. But if you look at the handout,
well, I know I have the handout. I just wanted to see it in the audit.
that's the bottom of page 13. So I can send you another version of the complete audit.
I see the handout where it is. Yeah.
Right at the bottom of 13, it looks like it's without the money you guys put into the 219,000.
Right, so it's not the same number. So will that page be,
Yeah.
I mean, what is that going to change in the final then? Well, I mean, which number should we be looking at?
What
It
num what
should,
what number do you have? Under the
One-
219,000.
$1,012,414. Is that right?
that's
what I'm
the
looking.
one that includes the 29,999 non-lapsing, Chris.
Oh.
I must have inadvertently sent the wrong one and I apologize. So
No
I will
problem at all. I'll
send a
change.
corrected one.
Okay.
Okay.
It's with me. Okay, so that's why it's a draft.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, so
thanks.
your number includes the non-lapsing fund, and the one I look at has the non-lapsing fund broken out. So then it has the 982, 415.
Yeah.
All right,
Okay.
got it. Thank you.
Get it now.
I don't know how that happened.
It's right here, just if you see, you compare the two.
Yes, I
Yeah,
know.
this here should be up here, the 29. Instead, it's down in
Down
here.
there.
Right. 29, 999, it added to 92, 415. This should be 4. Yeah, this is the state, this is the education on it, sorry. The 29 is supposed to be in here.
Right, yeah.
Right.
Here, got it.
Yep.
So they have to redo this section of the,
It's right there.
the draft.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you. Okay.
Any other questions?
Sorry, anybody else except me?
Okay, my other question is, just, can you reiterate, for Falls Village, for the town of Canaan, what the recommended general fund balance should be at? Should we be, can you just reiterate what you've told us in the past or reevaluate? Just give us that, the percentage of.
Yeah, there's two benchmarks. One is the Government Finance Officers Association, which is a member organization of municipal officials, treasurers, and such. They would say 2 months revenue. So you take your budgeted revenue, divide it by 6. So that's 16.67% of revenue. Moody's and Fitch and all those guys, they tend to look at 12 to 15% of your expenses, budgeted expenses. So their number's a little bit lower. I always think that a very small town likes to be on the higher side because, um, $900,000 is honestly not a lot of money if something goes south.
I was wondering if you take in consideration, our what we our ability to borrow, our cash reserves, our debt level or anything when you consider that number.
I just I just consider um Oxford, who's had 2 major catastrophes and natural disasters, and they need to start spending money the next morning. They can't wait for insurance or FEMA to show up. There's Oxford's still waiting for FEMA money. So in the case of a natural disaster, if you have to start renting portable classrooms for school or your highway crew, you have to bring in all sorts of highway crew contracted, you could go through it faster. So that's why just my personal feeling is a very small town should be on the higher side of those recommendations.
Thank you.
Because it's very rare and it's like fraud. Everyone says there's 2 type of people. It'll never happen to us, or it's happened to us. Same thing with
Right.
natural disasters. It'll never happen, or you're in Oxford and it's happened twice in the last 10 years.
Yeah, thank you.
So there's these actually all the questions we would have had.
Any other questions? No. All right, well, thank you both. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
zooming in and talking to us.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So long.
You've been well.
All right. Communications.
Did we get any in our mailbox?
I sent 2, just
So if you didn't.
yeah, they
We
would
would have the large.
I haven't seen that one.
Oh, but we asked Dave for it.
Yeah, and I didn't get.
Because he got it and it was also sent to you. So he was supposed to get that to us. Were you gonna send the digital versions? We're not.
I will take a look.
I'll let you.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the minutes, we're still waiting for Dave to give us a copy of the DM Hunt Library letter. that was sent to him, Board of Selectmen and Board of Finance.
And I shared the Region One that way, just passed it around, so I got one copy, this did come as communications. There, school newsletter. And I shared the budget statement adjustments. We read it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. The movie packet, I'm sorry. These were the proposed. So will be part of the selectmen's budget. And then the Torrance Area Health District. Those are cool. Things.
I don't know if I got that one. Was that might have been the ones.
Yeah.
I was very like, I found it.
Right, yeah, right now.
I see, I did not see
Yeah,
it.
but after Torrington area health.
It's this.
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
No, I don't do that.
I can share it.
I thought I printed the whole packet. That's. Print out, you know,
So many pages.
there's so many pages, right?
All right. And I don't have any oral. Unless anybody else does. All right. Secretary's report. I had March 9th and the 30th. I didn't have the 9th when I put this together.
I just did it.
All right, so we
After.
will, all right, we will defer that, the March 9th. So let's start with, I'm sorry, let's do March 9th and do the approval for the regular minutes. If I like to change.
Make a motion to approve the minutes for March 9th.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
So approve or receive?
These are
Minutes are
approved. These are approved.
Always forget.
Good.
I know, me.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And on the, then I have.
So are we tabling the 30th?
No,
We're gonna do the March
March 30th.
So moved. Second by Tom.
Yeah.
Any discussion?
I'm sure how it works. You did have, yes, I did have, I noticed under the steep grant, it looked like there was. Said the town has set 25,000 match already aside, is that the right number?
I don't believe.
No, it's 125.
125. All right, so that means
Where are our funds? There's more, but it's.
Where are we? Steep grant?
Yeah, steep grant,
March 30th, special meeting minutes, steep grant.
maybe just the one got dropped off on there, that's all.
So what do I have? You had 25,000.
And how much is it?
125,000.
So aside from the general fund,
125. Yes.
we wanna amend that to say from the general fund,
It's not from this. It is.
it says aside in the general.
Yeah,
Oh, it is.
yeah.
So
Any
you're
other?
making a motion to amend?
To amend,
Second.
We're seconding it.
Was that
So-
Tom and Amy?
Yeah, yes.
I move to amend,
Any discussion on the amendment? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So back to the main motion, the amended motion of approving the March 30th. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
A motion to table.
Yes, please.
So table the.
second.
Anything more? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Treasurer's report,
At your Board of Finance?
the Board of Finance one from February through February 6th, 26th. I'll just entertain a motion to receive. That move. Thank you, Amy.
Second.
Second, Martin. So discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then the treasurer's report from February.
I'll move to receive the treasurer's report from February as presented.
Second.
Discussion?
Let's see. It also had the general fund projection, or we're looking at that
Yes, it
too?
did, that's part of the.
Yeah.
the treasurer's report.
Yeah.
And that's where the 125 is.
Yeah.
for the work.
Motion for.
All those in favor?
I.
Opposed? Back to us, please.
Move to receive the tax collector's report as presented.
For a second.
Second.
It's very impressive.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I know, it's just deceiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The 2025 grand list is what we're gonna work on for this budget.
Got it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed?
Right, that's about it.
We have the Board of Ed. For March. Motion to receive it?
So moved.
Okay, second?
Second. Amy Hazel.
Yep. All those in, or any discussion? All those in favor of receiving the Board of Ed and Finance?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right. I think they're preferring our selectmen's report. Are you?
For in what we need.
Well, I think.
Yeah, Chris can fill you in a little bit on the steep graph.
Steep grant for our application for the trash compactor has been forwarded to Dave to forward to the state for their approval before we actually put it out to bid.
All right,
Oh, the RFP.
The RFP.
okay.
Okay. Assuming that comes back without any flags, or we can apply that template to the rest of them.
Oh, okay. So this is the first one we've done.
First one.
Okay.
Cobble Road Bridge is closed. The state closed that down. I don't know if that was included in the last month's. So Cobble Road is only accessible. The three houses up there are only accessible from Iron Mountain, right? Well,
And the only other thing that I can add to this is we're proposing an ordinance for the next town meeting. And it's a tax abatement for surviving spouse following line of duty death. And that is to formally recognize and provide financial support to the surviving spouses of public servant residents of the town of Canaan who have tragically lost their lives while performing their official duties as law enforcement officers, firefighters, or emergency medical service providers. This section hereby establishes a 100% abatement on all town of Canaan real property taxes for eligible surviving spouses of public servants as specified herein, up to a maximum of $10,000 per fiscal year. So I have more details on the ordinance if you would like a copy of that.
So that's going to town meeting.
It's got to go to the town meeting.
Judy, this ordinance is specific to death. It's not all, doesn't also deal with loss of income or loss of earnings potential as a result of an accident.
Yeah, it just says resulting
In the
it
line of
just
duty.
says death. That's all I read into it is death.
Should we consider loss of income as a result of accident? The loss of earnings potential?
You mean like a
Somebody's
permanent
unable to.
a permanent disability?
Yeah,
That we could bring up at our next selectmen's meeting, I guess, so.
Sure, we could, if you could make the recommendation to.
Okay.
And, service members, armed service members, but apparently that, is covered under.
Yeah.
Federal, so, but that's definitely, an option. Martin, that,
I think you want to be pretty clear about
The
the,
extent.
the extent or what qualifies if
Right.
you go to injury.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that could be challenging.
Right, because with veterans, they have a percentage, right? They're given a
Yes,
rating,
yes.
right?
Yeah,
You're
right,
able to
rating.
give someone a rating of disability.
Let's leave it alone.
Maybe that's
This makes it
That's-
excessively
Yeah,
complicated.
that's probably why,
Okay, or
because
one
they
thing
do
at a
I
that.
mean,
time.
it may or may not, but.
Well, they
if
get
gonna-
something anyway for the other, so that's probably
And
why
it
they
goes for
did
the
it that way.
completion of 15 consecutive grand list cycles from the date of the public servant's death, so there is a limit
15
on
years, yeah.
how it
15
can
years,
go.
okay.
Yeah,
And you guys have considered this, so we don't wanna complicate
Right.
it before,
Let's-
if you wanna get it
Yeah.
moved
Muddy the
along, we could have.
Let's leave it alone.
yeah, and I think,
Okay.
like you said, they get their rating
Thank you for
anyway,
Considering it though.
bound for service,
Anything
so
else?
that's probably
From
why.
I could
but-
find out if we get a rating for,
Well, there are ways, there
Any-
are.
Yeah,
Any
they
news-
do.
Yeah.
Yes,
Any news
this
on
is us. We get that.
the old firehouse?
Which we knew.
Nothing yet.
It's just, it's
Yeah,
just,
it
it's
is.
just
Just-
that I
just-
know that lawyers are the one you are at the mercy of, but it's lost income and it's more
it's
expense.
costing us money.
And,
At some point, we
You know,
might
we-
want to
we
put a
can-
time frame on it.
and we don't even
Yeah.
know, even if it can be resolved, your.
Our side is all set as far as I know.
Yeah, I think the way I see it, Amy, is that it's kind of out of the town's hand. It's in the lawyer's office, whom we have no control over at this point.
But aren't they
She has-
working on your behalf?
No,
Are the
our
town
lawyers
This
were-
is for.
This is
Oh,
the
okay,
other side.
the other lawyers, okay,
Right,
okay,
part of the lawyers, and
okay,
everything has to be reworked. Her mortgage has to be changed, and
I
so all that.
okay. More
That's all
complicated
our-
than I would
Right,
know, probably, I'm
right.
sure. Okay, thanks.
We share frustration.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Old business. I have the policies on here.
And I made progress.
Okay,
But I will not muddy the waters tonight
Right.
because there's plenty on the agenda.
Right.
I will be happy to present them when you feel it is appropriate to put on the
Okay.
agenda.
all right.
Yes. Finally got into here and looked up all these minutes.
And then we have the capital plan, which we will, I'm assuming you and Dave are working on. Don't, okay. All right, I will follow up with this. And then we did have the POCD, and if there's any other discussion that we needed to have, so I just put it there. If we needed to, we don't. I was very helpful.
I'd love for us to actually hit it on a future agenda once we're a little less
We're not doing the budget.
right,
Yeah,
so
the
that we
budget.
could actually look it over and see what we
Where
need
we
to
can
do
contribute
or
it.
what has been done, or, I don't want to
Good.
leave them high and dry. I want to support the effort.
I know that they're gonna be looking for, obviously, grant money to do some of the things, but some of that stuff may end up, maybe some smaller things will end up falling to us, so in future years for budgeting, we would be. Obviously have to look at that.
Great. Good.
Perfect. Thank you. And then we have the suspense items.
That's it.
Yep.
Where?
So, tax collector.
Is recommending to the Board of Finance that there be 16 accounts, total suspense of $1,915.29. And they have not been paid and not collectible. Need to be transferred to the suspense tax book.
Right, I'll make a motion to what is it? Oh, let's see, she's asking us to
To transfer the 16.
deem the uncollectible items that she has listed for transfer to the suspense tax book.
Correct.
Okay, that's what you need
For 16, we'll do the
for,
specifics.
for accounts 16, for
Accounts.
16 accounts
Total.
totaling $1,915.29. Because they're uncollectible, considered uncollectible.
I'll second that.
Thank you, Bill.
Okay.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
And
Opposed? Thank you.
who's the town of Providence?
Who knows? Um. Budget discussion. Okay.
Did we, um, in the, uh, in the financial reports that we have to date, you know, they're, as a, what's this? As of March, I guess, March 22nd? No, that's Board of Education, sorry.
No,
Sorry.
February.
As of February, so it's hard for us to say, so. I was just trying to figure out what are we pretty much on track budget wise? It's hard to tell from a February report for
Yeah.
expenses, that is.
Still waiting on one main station, he hasn't aired in a while. But as far as the budget we're looking at, it's already like spending is on track for.
Yeah, okay. It's, yeah, that would be helpful to have. And then my other question was for our selectmen, did you talk or discuss, the, health insurance policy that you guys were, the family plan, thing, a policy for that? So that it's not just, you know, this year, but you have something in place that makes it, makes all employees understand who's eligible for it and that kind of thing.
We have not had that discussion yet.
Okay, does that, we mentioned at the last meeting when this was presented, that it was really important to have that, clarified so that, I mean, because it's a big jump in the insurance cost. And it's not that we don't think, you know, your decision is not a good one. It's just, there's no guidelines for, like, suddenly next year, you know, we haven't budgeted for it and another employee says, well, she got a family plan, I want a family plan too. So we really need to know that that won't happen because there are guidelines in the place.
I think that they talked to the new town attorney about that, and he suggested waiting for when Region 1 is renegotiating because we're under Region 1. Does this make sense, Michelle?
Yeah, but
We are under Region 1, I don't.
for your health insurance,
Right.
but the town has to have its own policy for its employees. So
Yeah.
you don't have to give this person family coverage, right?
Right.
So if you choose to, we're only asking that you clarify under what conditions an employee can have family coverage so that it's not a random kind of thing, so that we can project it. Can you help me out a little bit?
Yeah, I'm thinking about how to put this. I do think there has to be defined, clear guidelines so that it's,
Equalize.
you know, what,
And it's
who
fair.
is entitled to health insurance and at what level. so that it's equal across the board.
We have
Um,
discussed that we need to figure this.
So we do, I think that we do need to have a policy in place,
Beforehand.
like what is, and I don't even know if you have for each of the town hall employees really have a, you know, a job description with their benefit package and, you know, all of that. That really should be defined
Right.
in a formal way. That way it wouldn't matter who was in the job. You could determine
Yes. I
who would
agree.
be entitled to what benefit. Yeah. And that would help. And I don't think that has anything to do with renegotiating with the health insurance for the Region One. Region One is using the state plan.
Right.
It tends to be a very comprehensive plan for a good price. Unfortunately, no health insurance is a good price, but you know, you want to get the best for your money. And so because it's a large pool, you know, we make out a little bit better depending on our experience rating each year. But I think there needs to be a policy
I
here,
agree.
you know, and with all in town employees, actually.
There is personnel policy, right? Does that?
And we looked, that's what it was about. It was focused on retirement, personal retirement guidelines, not,
Health.
Yeah.
and what constituted FTE versus not.
What's a 40-hour versus?
I think there was some ambiguity in there that needed to be. Said.
Right. Yeah, I think the entire policy manual term of it.
Yeah, but we
How
may
that
have,
affects, and how that affects this budget season versus next is gonna be the big question, so.
Yeah.
right, and that's why, you know, it would be hard to approve that increase without knowing that those guidelines are in place before we
would-
propose that. I mean, that's my
What, I
opinion.
mean, I would like to see it in place as well. I don't know that it's feasible for them to do that quickly. But I would like to see it be one of their top priorities.
I'd like to see them get started on it.
Well, there's,
So the health insurance increased 11% at the base, and then we added more for, am I correct in that?
So that's increased 11%.
Right,
An employee went on it halfway through last fiscal year, so that wasn't studied.
that wasn't
So
budgeted,
there's an increase for that,
okay.
and then there's an increase for an employee sanitary. So there's three increases in that.
But the budget, the line item's not showing that.
Well, we,
We approved the budget 157.
no,
No, wrong.
we
Approved
approved
it at 171,
Mhm.
but your estimated is still only
I
171.
don't think anything was, it's appropriated more for it, yeah.
So but that is
But in your
anticipated now?
estimated expenditures, it's not there.
I would have to.
Okay, so
But I was not at the meeting where it was talked about, so I know it was brought to the Board of Finance, but I don't think it was on the list. That's entirely. I can't remember what, I heard that, but not at that meeting, so I don't.
I think Dave did bring something up.
I did, but I'm not,
There was no action.
no, it wasn't action, but I was.
I know what you're.
I'm looking at the
I get it,
I'm looking at the estimated expenditures, and I would think that doesn't have anything to do with budget or amended
I get what
budget.
you're saying, I think.
That's what I'm looking at the estimated saying, you know, there's something that's gonna increase, and we're not gonna spend 171, we're gonna spend 200 this year.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that needs to be part of this document.
Yeah.
So
right, because our estimated is wrong.
Right, it is.
Correct.
it's under, it's under.
Yep. Yep.
It should be.
Mhm. Mhm. Oh. Mhm.
Because that number might not look, I mean, when we talk about
Mhm.
increase versus what the actual increase is over what it is this year versus what was
Increase.
budgeted.
The increase is over the budget, not the.
No, I understand that, but but in your head, you can look at it.
10%.
No, I get it, but you can still, when you look at it, you can say, you know, well, we really are spending $189,000 this year.
Sure.
And so, you know, it already was increased. So just, I know it's not gonna be represented here. The percentage increase from budget to budget, I understand that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Um,
as long as that 44.35% increase also includes the unexpected oversure in
Right,
addition to cover all the things, right?
yes, correct, yes.
And we won't know until early May, and about the Board of Ed total.
Well, and it was unfortunate that the high school, the Region One presentation was the same night as ours.
And
I would like, I don't know how in the future if we can avoid that because I would have really, because
Like
we
to be
we
there.
definitely have an impact to our town budget based on our number of students projected at the high school. So and that's impacting our overall percentage increase. So it would have been really great if we can get to all of those presentations. So
Maybe I'll talk to Sam. Sam and
Pat, actually.
Pat,
Pat.
Pat is really the one, she's on both boards,
And her,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
right? So, because I haven't had a chance to look at that budget yet, so I don't understand what those budget implications are.
Right.
I thought they were supposed to be here this week, but
But even so, it won't be voted on until early May, so it'd be good to look at our calendar and stuff, but, in the meantime.
So we left with some questions on the town with
Yeah.
the health insurance,
the health insurance.
There's also some wild cards in those marriage, right?
waste
Right.
management.
Yeah, because there's so.
You have any
things
more on
coming.
that?
So that's a.
State hasn't made any decisions
hard set.
on the application for the.
keeps going back and forth, so
Mhm.
It's been approved
Right.
by one committee for it to be friends in area.
Right.
Fields.
Mhm.
Waiting for be municipally owned. But that hasn't gone through to other committees, so it's still all of this.
Right.
We're looking at a $660,000 shortfall, that's it, right now. Which is more than we've had in the past. Of course, I don't know what the numbers would be, so we might, but I just can't imagine. I didn't see any increases that you could ask the Board of Ed to make. Yeah, there's nothing there.
Well, I think the only thing is whether they do the early K or not, because we're looking at about $32,000 in expenses for that.
Which is not very much,
Plus the 5,000 for the grant that they'll probably get.
but it's not very much, but it is something.
Right.
But I know as Michelle reiterated, a mill is 100 and, what is it, $243,000. So I don't know, like 30,000 might do something,
Right. Well,
not much.
Do we have a grand list yet for 2025? Can you share or have that shared?
yes, I can.
And is that's what these numbers are based on?
The tax rate at the top of what you're, flip back over. What that increases in the current fuel rate.
Yeah, there's a nice summary that we can get out of it.
Yeah, there is. I can.
Can you get that? Send us to
Yep,
everybody?
it's the same.
Yeah.
number. So you're saying this number is,
Calculated off
Off
of
of the same mill rate, the current mill rate.
the current mill rate
And the new grand list.
and the new grand list. Okay.
thank you. Mhm. If the grand list go up.
It did go up. That's why that number went.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not enough. Right? Looking at that.
What land?
right.
Well, Hazel's gonna build a skyscraper.
Oh,
that.
sure.
Yeah.
She's selling the airspace, but. So, yeah. That's, It's a chunk of change.
Well, previous budget years, we've had a lot more problems with what we've been received. I think we received two really decent budgets that we need to figure out based on, general fund, and if we can make it work without increasing the mill rate. That's my number one focus of things, is not to increase.
Yeah, me
Right.
too, but we're looking at that the shortfall now is most 3 mills right now. And, that's not with any contribution from the general fund though.
Correct.
Right. So, I'm with you. I don't want to go up either, but it means,
Our problem is the 13.53% increase coming from the high school.
yeah. And
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
what
I mean,
still-
it comes in waves.
Other towns need to have more kids.
they
It's a
do.
hard number to.
Yeah, yeah.
But I would also, I do want to review these numbers a little bit
The Board of Ed.
more, because
About Board of Ed.
I mean, with the board chair from Sharon, and they actually came in at 0, and it says they came in at 1.98%. So I really would want to confirm that these numbers are correct.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So
I mean,
I mean,
how
I don't
the
know.
easiest way to do that?
I'm gonna call Sam Herrick.
Yeah, I thought Sam would have it all, right?
I think he can help me know what
Because he's got his.
he should have it. He should know.
But does he even know what we're looking at?
I'm sure he does.
Okay,
I'm
good.
sure he's seen it all.
Great. He's seen it
So,
all. Seen it all.
But I just want to make sure, like, we're really,
No,
it just was
it-
interesting to
it
me,
is.
like, and so then I just want to make sure that all of all these numbers are.
I mean, regardless of what the other towns are coming in at, it's the majority of our increase is going to be non-negotiable stuff.
Right. Well, then I just, like, I want to make sure that the high
That's
school
right.
number is right.
Right.
Like, I want to, so,
Sure.
but I haven't seen their budget yet, so I gotta.
So do we want, I mean, we have a couple questions, we've asked the selectmen to look, and kind of look at some of this, do we want to just plan to meet
I think we should meet one more time
in 2 weeks?
Just
if we can.
for this.
Just for this?
Yeah,
I'm just.
I think we should.
It's not huge. The only huge number was
Really, you're looking at,
That
I
health
think there's two
insurance.
wild cards in the municipal, and
Right.
on the Board of Education, there really is just the early K.
Oh, we put Board of Finance 6 o'clock on April 27th
We
already.
did,
Mhm.
and that was, we were gonna make the decision of if we keeping it or not.
Can we keep
Fine.
it?
fine with
We
keeping
can
it.
keep it.
Makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
We got work to do. We have work to do.
I mean, we said it was gonna be.
6?
To her, what
What, do you want to move it?
Six-
I like-
Six
I
fifteen.
work till 6 generally, but I can make 6. It's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
She wouldn't mind going 6:15
I wouldn't
either.
mind going 6:15.
Yeah, it's a
You're not alone.
push for
Let's
her.
do 6:15.
16's me.
Okay.
Okay.
Since I haven't done anything in
What date?
the 27th of April.
4/27, 6:15.
Yes.
PM? Yes.
Yes, we're gonna,
Okay.
That helps there.
it helps me too.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
Um,
And we should prepare to bring so many questions there. Do we need, you want to request for the selectmen to be present?
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
just,
Yes,
so.
thank you.
I,
And I wanna look, kind of we'll pull out the template, we'll
There's-
put things together, we'll start
not around.
futzing around with it. Michelle will have a little
Places.
more revenue. I will, you'll have a general fund projection on where you're at. A little closer.
Can I ask one more question? I think on the projected revenue worksheet, where it talks about the appropriation for general fund to cover to offset last year's mill rate change. Am I right in assuming that the $140,000 is the actual used of that appropriation? And how do we know if there's more
So that's,
anticipated?
no, that's what will be used.
Oh.
140.
Because she's had
That's the
revenue.
estimate based on revenue that
Has.
Okay.
Oh, right.
state and stuff that's still coming in that hasn't come in yet. It's the best estimate I can give of what you're gonna use over 219, or I think it's up to 221.
221,
Right.
yeah.
That helps.
Another question as far as our, there aren't a lot of big jumps, in the things that you can really niggle about. Let me just see here. Yes, and I don't know, like, you know, I just don't see it. I don't see it, except for the health insurance and
There's a couple
the
of
truck reserve.
There's
you
a
know,
couple, there's a
catch
couple
up.
places that if we wanted to really pick up scalpel, we could, but I don't know.
It's significant.
I mean,
Yeah, but
That's not,
what else do we do?
And it's out of our control, some of it, like the
Yes,
voting.
and the insurance, yeah,
Right,
That increase on the voting.
right.
right.
yeah, that's
Um,
Yeah, but
killer.
that's none of that you can change.
And
none
the,
of that
and
we
the
can do
food
anything
waste
about.
thing
The
too.
food waste, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I'm just wondering about like transfer station permits, fees, other permit fees, are those going up at all, or have they already gone up? I don't, recently, sorry, I'm not remembering.
It's like that we pay.
No, that you get revenue from.
Oh,
It's
Uh,
small numbers though,
yeah.
yeah.
The transfer station is within the taxes. It's in here.
No, but when people pay extra for dumping, extra bulky
That's-
waste
that's
and stuff like
another-
that, but.
Yeah,
And the
they're
food waste.
supposed to be.
Waste went up.
Yeah, I thought they
yeah,
changed
there
that.
was an increase already.
Yeah,
Can't remember.
Is that to cover, Chris, was that to cover the hauling of the bulky waste with the container? That was, yes. So it was an offset there.
And
right.
maybe another thing is to see where we might get some grants. I just wonder, maybe it would be like for the rec, activities.
Well, the initial food scrap program was granted, so.
Right,
Mhm.
the initial one.
Yes.
Yeah, and so there might, I
There's
wonder about,
potential for another one.
yeah, so I wonder about grants. Grants, and specifically for like rec and like the food waste thing, which is 7,000. I know these are little things. I don't know, I'm just fishing here. And if anybody else has any other ideas.
5,000 cuts.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah.
Will you summarize the questions for the Board of Selectmen?
Yeah.
You'll help.
Amy's gonna help me.
How about you solicit the Board of Finance to funnel the questions to you? and
That's
then you-
perfect, and we'll go from there.
Yeah,
And then we can at least have some targeted ones, and then we can also,
right, because
if
there
others come up.
appears to be like two.
Oh, no.
Well,
And do we wanna ask if Sam or someone wants to come from the Region One to answer our questions, cause we were unable to attend their, I don't know.
That'll be the
I don't know
case.
what questions I'd even.
Well,
ask
because we
you
haven't
to.
looked at it yet,
Yeah,
but once we
I know
look at
you've
it,
done
I'm sure we'll have questions.
Right.
So maybe the question to him first is, do you have it ready? Can we have copies of it?
It was supposedly ready last week.
Well, we don't have copies. so-
I printed a copy off the website today.
Oh, it's on the
It
website?
made you copies.
No, it's still on the website. I'll grab it.
Yeah, um,
They did not bring any in yet, and so they will.
yeah, before the vote, definitely.
When's the
By
vote?
then, it might be.
Early May,
Right.
May 5th.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're meeting again
Oh,
on.
that's the
all
right.
right, I'll take a look at it and
Take
see
a
what I
look at
have.
it and see,
Yeah,
and then we can,
I'm sure there's.
I'm just thinking grants at this point, maybe.
Yeah, but that's not gonna help our budget.
Right.
She's
Cause we have to budget for the money.
all right.
I know.
Yeah, anyways.
So let's
Yeah.
get questions to me by the end of this. Today's the 13th. So by the weekend.
17th.
13th. So add them to me so I can summarize and we'll send them, I'll send them to the Board of Selectmen on Monday.
Thank you.
Mhm. We'll have those two though, right, to begin with. Right,
The health.
the health and the
Waste.
waste.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the two agent.
Sure. The next is our agenda amendment.
I just want to make a comment, to us in general. I was thinking about poor Pat last meeting where we had so much public comment going on with the Board of Education stuff. I knew you were not gonna be able to get all that stuff down, so I think just reminding that it is a meeting.
Mhm.
We should abide by the formal rules, that are set, and not to allow that public comment to get out of hand again. It was too much. It was too much conversation. So,
Yeah.
so
sounds
it is
like
still, we're still in the frame.
Maybe
of the
next
meeting,
time
but-
though, we could have invited Dr. Deacon to join us at the table, as he was also so instrumental in developing that budget. And then maybe if he was here with us, we wouldn't have had some of the other.
True. But I think we have to just remember that,
Mhm.
In general.
we just you
Talking
can't,
back
you
and
can't just let
forth.
it go off
Yes.
the rails like that again. It's too much. I'm thinking, Pat's trying to table all this stuff down.
I know.
There's no way she's getting it.
And I said, I need to be able to, I can't.
Sometimes I can't
My
read
back
handwriting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Well, I already read those
That's a
minutes. I
good-
thought you did
really
a good job.
reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, five.
Any other business? Public comment?
I have two. Quickly on the audit, the $125,000 that was put aside for the steep, the town approved is not taken out of the general fund, The general fund is $125,000 less than thought. We've got the 55, but not the 125.
Not the 125.
Yeah, so you're $125 less. And since you're talking about grants, steep is available, it's supposed to be available in 2027. That means you can apply for 1.2 million, 1.25, and they give you $1 million. There's FEMA, there's DOT, there's DEEP, there's a bunch of grants. If there's no money in the general fund, we can't apply because
Because you have to
won't get the
match.
Yep.
So if
Yep.
the general fund's wiped out, you're walking away from minimum applying for steep, which is $1 million to the town. And it costs us $250 to get it. So, say,
2027 is the next round.
supposed to be February 2027 or January, actually, I think we're supposed to announce.
Okay.
But that's the 20% match. There are 10% match. There are 0 match. You cannot take money out of the reserves unless it's for that specific project. And we don't have much money in reserves for what we really need, which is roads and bridges and guardrails and that kind of stuff. That's, and Ken's really pushing that. So all I'm saying is, I know you're looking at just under a 3 mil increase.
Yeah.
That scares the crap out of me.
Yeah, all of us.
Yeah. I have 11 people right now looking for help to pay their mortgage. If people don't pay their mortgage, it'll pay their taxes.
Yeah.
Never mind food and groceries, so I don't know what to do. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
There have to be some hard choices made. That's all.
Yeah.
Any other public comment?
I think that was one right
That
there.
was in.
I think
That was
that
right there.
I'm just watching. Oh, all right. Yeah.
I would say make motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Second one.
Yeah, yes.
Easy Fud was the #1 pick.
You look.
No, Rebecca texted me.
You look.
I didn't. I swear.